Surprise and nephew, how you do, sir?
You know, all the history, boy. I good. Well, as good as can be. Let's be honest, yeah?
Definitely. And looking at the art as you practice it, what are some of those things, or should I ask for mileposts? And this is coming from party time to galvanize, was
Mm.
galvanize mongrel, and some of those real important things.
Bunch of
Because
different
even
stuff,
looking at your
yeah.
T-shirt now, I see in this tune you could flow. So what are those some
All
of
right,
those things that
lovely.
really kind of stand
Yeah.
out to you?
This is Omari Ashbury's brand. So it's like a kindred brand. So I got this one. But yeah, I mean it could say it basically started before that and all, you know, because I mean I grew up painting t-shirts and stuff like that even before or during the party time era, and then the Kiskidi era came around. In terms of actual painting though, I moved away from the clothes and the fabric, and then I got really into music for a number of years specifically, and I wasn't really doing much art. And then maybe 15 years ago, I started back doing stuff to put on walls and stuff. And some t-shirts and in between. Yeah, but primarily, quote unquote, fine art.
And we even see some of your work behind you, and you've been having opportunities for people to avail themselves of your work. I think one of the latest ones was at East Yard.
Yes, it was at Easter. That was the weekend before Christmas. Yeah, something I had something called the Galvanized Art and Music Weekend, which includes film, art, music. I've had smaller versions of it before, so this was actually version 4, and looking forward to version 5 sometime soon, as soon as we get things organized.
But talk to me a little bit about Galvanize. What's the importance or the significance of Galvanize and the way that it finds itself into a lot of the stuff that you're doing?
I think there was a point in time, sometime after Kistidi Caravan disbanded and people had to kind of find their own way. I decided instead of trying to go straight into the carnival space to really explore what would be considered the underground now. So I was doing music, I started to DJ, I started to produce, and I came up with this phrase, the flying galvanized disco, which was initially supposed to refer to like a song system that focused on local music, new, middle, and old. And then it kind of shortened to galvanize as a obviously as an umbrella for the art, the music, and film and stuff like that. So the galvanize is such a versatile and ubiquitous type of thing, especially in the Caribbean. You know, you look on the wall, you see galvanize. You look on the fence, you look up on your roof, you see galvanize. And obviously, and then the verb is to kind of bring things together. So it was kind of ideal at the time to go that route.
And no, I think I see something galvanized books. Am I right there? Because you spoke about art, you spoke about music, but galvanized
Well,
books.
the publishing side of it is kind of new in the sense that I did do a book. Could have been like almost 18 years ago. You know, something called Monologue of a Reluctant Criminal. But it was like a collection of the books I was doing as a teen and early 20s. And then 2 years ago, after I did a exhibition called Crown's Land, I was really exploring the idea of the silk cotton tree as not just as a symbol, but as a portal and as a something that we all know and embrace, and that has embraced us over the years. So when the opportunity came to put pen to paper, I started to put some of the stories that I was writing alongside the exhibition, some poems, some older poems, some of the stuff I post on Facebook. So I put that together in a book called Silk Cotton Stories. So that has been out for a little while. I have a copy here. Actually, it's kind of in the middle of a reprint right now. So this is my personal sketch copy. So by the 1st of February, we should have new copies and hopefully volume 2 as well.
And but speaking of the books, is it that it's just that one book? Because I know some there's also some collaboration. I think Days of Wrath. Was
Well,
was the was the
this
relationship?
book is actually a bit of a collaboration as well because one of my mentors in the early days was this lady called Christine Panton, and she had a store. Sorry about that. She actually had a store in Belmont that used to do graphic arts by, and she used to do these little sketches because she was also a public servant. So she used to do these little doodles when she in a long meeting and thing. And we kept those, and those are part of this book as well. But in terms of collabos, though, there's a bunch of other like-minded authors who looking to self-publish, DIY, hit the streets that we're working with as well. But in the meantime, too, we're also doing reissues. So the one main reissue if we have out right now is Days of Wrath by Raoul Pantin. And we're looking to do a reissue of his book of poetry called Journey, which was released in the 70s as well. So these are all the plans coming up in 2022. But the next step we're going to make is chapter 2 of this, continue this to move the Days of Wrath and start having meetings with different writers and stuff like that.
And in terms of those, just before we go to break and really jump inside the sticky stuff, what are some of those pros and cons of looking for another publisher versus self-publishing, hitting the streets like you said?
The world has changed considerably, and the old models are not going to work anymore. And interestingly enough, when we had now started to think about doing music, we had already bought up blank cassettes and link with beats and link with small producers and stuff. And that was actually when I was part of the group Kindred. And the plan was to hit the streets because Kiski didn't exist yet. And there was nobody outside of the Carnival space invested in that. And even the Carnival space wasn't really youth-friendly. So it's not something new, and it's actually kind of come full circle. So it means that what they do it online, hard copy, at the end of the day, Dike, you have to get the work out, and you also have to be able to do a better trade with your works, obviously, because it's an effort you're making and the work is good. So what we're trying to utilize is the new technology, as well as some of the old flyer on a lamppost type of style, and bring some of these fresh, not so young and not so young writers to the forefront, because Maxi and you have a Ozy Merrique book, it becomes tactile, it becomes a friendly thing, it becomes something like a collector's item, yeah.
And so we continue the conversation because you spoke about old models and the Carnival space, and we're going to link those two ideas together when we return. We're speaking with Ozy Merrique. Stay with us. We come back with more.
Make them ask. Wear your mask.
I love the look and smell of litter. From this huge pile, I can see that many people also find it attractive.
Yes, Charlie. Litter is indeed attractive. It attracts roaches, flies and mosquitoes, and rats.
My pets.
Don't be a litter bug, Charlie. Do the right thing. Don't litter.
Welcome back. We are going in depth on art beyond the pandemic, and for that we are joined by, I guess, Ozy Merrique, artist. And Ozy, when we say art, what is the first thing that comes to mind for you? Because you've spoken about so many genres and ways of articulating your art.
Storytelling. Storytelling, because even in a painting is a story, in music is a story, you've already done a film. So it's about, you could use the general term expression, but I think my roots is really from a storytelling perspective, even before Rapso. And I like the idea of bringing the the unusual and the extraordinary from the ordinary, and also a commitment to a certain kind of indigenous sound, brand, smell, feel, look. So that's how I work, and that's how I understand. And I kind of now starting to better embrace the umbrella of all things, as opposed to kind of zeroing in on one particular aspect at one particular time.
And you say that, and it rings true for me because I remember looking at some of the titles of pieces that you would have finished and say, "But this sounds like a story in and of itself." So what goes into that naming process?
It's I think it's, for me, it's intuitive. It works both ways. It's like a synergy between sometimes the title comes first, sometimes the work evolves by its own self. Sometimes I put them together. Titling is kind of sometimes of a challenge for me, but I want to get to a point where there's this work I want to do where you had the beat, you had the art, you have the story or the poem. I'm getting there. Right now they're still kind of arguing, but I've gotten much further than I thought I would have gotten in terms of that synergy of the thing. And that could be one work by its own self there. A musical, showing some dance, make the thing look nice and song nice.
And speaking of process and work, there is something that you shared in terms of getting up early, making some coffee, look at the canvas for however long, cry, then start.
Remember that?
What does that process look? Because many people have said that the artist is able to go into themselves, or they're forced to go into themselves and look at things that quote unquote normal people may not want to, and then come forward with something beautiful or something to make you think. Has that process kind of changed for you during this time, this space, the pandemic?
It has, and even before that, it had changed, because I think coming into myself was a greater trust of whatever form the process takes. If the process is 1 o'clock in the morning, I would be able to have stuff at hand I could start it. If it takes a week or if it takes 10 minutes, I trust in that, because it's not, for me, it's not about the necessarily the, I don't want to use the word discipline, because I think I'm disciplined in my own type of way, because when I put on a work with an order and a finish that I want to be proud of at the end. And if I'm not satisfied, I wouldn't put it out, But it's about sometimes the littlest things, talking to somebody on the street, seeing a kid riding a bike. A good brother of mine sent me a picture. I don't really do a lot of realism, but he sent me a picture of an old picture of Minchel's man crab. I remember the year it was. I did a man crab at some point. That one sold. I don't really do repeats either, but the picture he sent for me was so well framed, and it was telling its own story. I say, yeah, I could touch that. So it could even be that. I don't know,
And you just spoke about Minchel, and I want to go back into Carnival.
I know. I get you're trying to.
Pros and cons, and this is Carnival space. Even looking at the fact that your email is centerseason@gmail.com, what that space and that idea of space, what are some of those blessings and challenges to go with it?
And less blessings.
You understand?
Less blessed. It's a lot to go into here. But at some point in time, not even at some point in time, I never felt comfortable with an end date that was not my end date for a project that I am doing. That's the simplest way to put it. In other words, then if I decide to release music in March, and it has its own life cycle, and by December, nobody really digging it, then I feel more free and more emancipated where that is concerned. Of course, to try to go against the behemoth that is Carnival makes no sense. I've realized over these many years I've been trying to do it myself, But I see a lot of artists have that kind of feeling, as though they might be getting the gains of it, Dike. But like they feel as though the spirit want to do more. They want to have more scope. It's like driving on the left side of the road or the right side of the road. The people who driving on the, let me say the people who driving on the left side of the road, 10% of the people in the world drive on the left side. The people driving on the left side could think two things. It have successful people on the left side. They reaching where they're going. So there's nothing wrong with the modeling. It's just that the people who driving on the right side might have more roads in the world to drive on them. You know? And that's a choice, your personal choice you have to make. I realize that after a while. And I'm still not comfortable in so deep into the mass that I locked myself off for all this period of time. But I find in different ways, and especially since Israeli music does have that kind of luck. So doing the art and the film and stuff is going to give me the chance to bring the thing into a different level. So Center Season was that thing that I branded because I thought that that's where I was more comfortable working. I still was more comfortable working as a musician, writer. But hey, you know, if I could do a collab with Super tomorrow, you know, especially in this timing, yeah, I don't for that. Yeah.
And when you talk about this timing, what does the virtual space do for creative efforts from your perspective?
I don't know if I'm a mind seeing this, but a lot of people sometimes just go, well, yeah, NFTs is the big thing in the States, you know? No disrespect. It's the big thing in the world. And people making money. But give me a model from here. How do I get from here? Without a visa, with the COVID, living on this island, even in the virtual world, there is a certain amount of distance, logistical and locational distance that you have to overcome, and especially in terms of also management and streams. And it's not even so comfortable to even receive money. You know, people are way advanced in Trinidad, or always, from the technology standpoint. But I used to tell people, I say, back in the days, tell me how Sparrow make it. You know, back in the days, everybody calling Prince name. They might call Bob Marley name, they might call Michael Jackson name. I say, but no, tell me how Sparrow ended up in Carnegie Hall. You know? Tell me what was his management like? What kind of, you know? And I think that the kind of data and history that would bode us well in going down the road in the future.
What are some of those things that you're looking for? We have 2 minutes in terms of sustainability.
I realize,
sustainability and looking at the model. What are some of those things that one, you're working towards, and two, you're hoping to see?
I'm gonna say once again, short story long or long story short. Small collaborations. Meaning that if 4 people get together, is basically a union that find common ground and work, because you might be able to at least put your 20 friends, my 10 friends, his 5 friends. We have similar goals, we have similar styles, let me go down that road. The next thing is, don't be afraid to jump out. Because I was watching a spot around by me, I mean, is in the plannings, quote unquote, you want to call it that, and it's perfect to put up a piece, but then that piece might cost $15,000. And people might say, but that might diminish the value of your art. And then I stop and study. I say when Basquiat was walking through New York with a $1,000 suit covered in paint, and then end up selling pieces for that amount of money, people didn't have a problem. So break the mold. That's the next thing. And I mean, I might not much to say after that, but collaborate, break the mold, and while you're waiting for the papers and everything else to kick in, you know what I mean? Write a letter and put it in TT Post. Telling your fans, you know, get a proper address. If I get a letter right now, I'll feel like a shilling. If I go in my post box and see something that's not a bill, I personally, as a human being in this modern world, will feel like a shilling. So, I mean, those are some just ideas that I've been playing around with in my own space. And I'm sure there are other people who would have either similar or even better ideas and experiences.
And thank you for sharing those ideas, and hopefully that helps to enlarge the space of everyone who is tuned in and taking this on. But Ozy Merrique, we want to thank you very much for your time and the work that you do. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, we want to thank you for being part of this. This has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you for joining us.
The winning numbers in the National Lottery online draws for Tuesday, 18th January 2022. At 10:30 a.m. Playway, the number 36 Donkey Mega Ultra Ball called with the golden ball. Pick two numbers 23 and 4 in that order. Pick 4 numbers 2, 9, 7 and 4 in that order. At 1 p.m. Playway, the number 9 Cattle Mega Extreme Ball called with the golden ball. Pick two numbers 31 and 28 in that order. Mega Ball called. Pick 4 numbers 4, 1, 8 and 6 in that order. At 4 p.m. Playway, the number 28 Redfish Mega Ultra Ball called. Pick two numbers 33 and 23 in that order. Pick 4 numbers 1, 6, 1 and 8 in that order. At 7 p.m. Playway, the number 23 House Mega Extreme Ball called. Pick two numbers 30 and 2 in that order. Mega Ball called. Pick 4 numbers 8, 5, 2 and 2 in that order. Cashpot numbers 13, 12, 4, 17 and 9 in any order. Multiplier 1.
This is TTT. Live for local.
Vaccination is very important for the reopening of commerce and interaction in Tobago from a tourism perspective for a number of reasons. The first one, it's the best and probably the only known real defense, according to the medical professions, to shield us against the negative impact of contracting the disease, which is hospitalization and unfortunately demise. So we need to ensure that we have a healthy population. And this is the defense. So if we don't have a healthy population, a healthy workforce to be able to interact with visitors, then we stand the negative implications of being unprepared. We also need to have an able and capable labor force by demonstration. And when I say by demonstration, you have to have people who are capable of turning up for work. And vaccination is one way of insulating us from having severe illnesses to be able to deal with that situation. Then you have the very important perspective where the source markets are now making requirements for travel based on the level of vaccination in the destinations that people are going to visit. So if we have a low level, we will not get the signal of approval for persons, particularly from the European side, which is our largest market, as well as from the US and North America. Although in some cases there have been relaxations in some markets, but the fundamental principle is that you need a certain percentage of your population vaccinated to trigger that signal that you are actually open. And that is why it is so important for us, because tourism is the biggest business outside of the government operations, which is the THA. Tourism is what's driving this economy in Tobago, and that's why we need to be vaccinated.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Go, sona. I come in. And don't give me no attitude there.
You have share no manners, boy. I wish I had your touch, boy.
You have to groom them. First, you have to target them. Scope them out. See if they have low self-esteem, family problems, you know. Then you move in and gain the trust. After that, you feel a need. Some of them like nice things like fancy phones, hairdos, clothes, food. It have ones who only looking for somebody to care and listen to their problems. You feel me? What's important though, you have to isolate them from the people. Let them believe it's all about you and them. Then you get through.
Nice.
Look one right here. Try thing now.
A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Right, people, so we're on the road again, driving from San Fernando to Port of Spain, asking people whether sun or rain, why did they take the COVID-19 vaccine? Yes, this is my why, where I try to find out why people got vaccinated.